Welcome to the Rotary Club of Edina, the #1 club in the universe. Yeah, baby. My name is Michael Stanzak, and I am humbled and honored to serve as your 67th president. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much for coming out on this cool, gray Minnesota spring day. We so appreciate it. We have a very interesting and educational meeting planned today with Dr. Stacie Stanley, the Edina Public Schools Superintendent. Stacie, thank you for being here. As everyone can imagine, Gordy, being the superintendent of Edina schools is not an easy job. No, Stacie Stanley is. But think about it. Sometimes the students are unhappy. Sometimes the teachers are unhappy. And certainly sometimes the parents are unhappy. So I have great compassion for Dr. Stanley and what she does. It kind of reminds me of being the president of the Rotary Club of Edina, because sometimes people are unhappy with you. Timing. Not much is happening on Member Spotlight because so many of our members are gone and they're in warm places. I got to back up a second before we get to Member Spotlight. We'd like to welcome Jerry Norton on Zoom. We'd like to welcome Dr. Sita Dash on Zoom. We'd like to welcome Wooge Bayan on Zoom, Marty Cooper from your beautiful home in Florida, and Bob Perkins. So those are all people that are joining us on Zoom. But anyway, back to Member Spotlight, Paul. Not much going on. However, the Mazzara family went swimming with the animals. So take a look. There is John Mazzara with his new friend on vacation. Now, I don't know if that's a sea lion or a seal. And then there is Patty with the same new friend. And then there are kids, Michael and their daughter. Check out the smile of the seal. Isn't that amazing? I mean, how many people have swum with seals or dolphins or anything like that? I've never swum with a seal or dolphin. Good for them. So, Sandy Schley, I don't think, is Sandy here today? Sandy celebrated a birthday this month, and Josh Sprague posted, "Happy birthday, Sandy. You are truly one of the best humans that I know. You always inspire me." Josh Sprague. And in the picture are the past presidents. So if you look at the top row, you see John Flynn, Tom McNillis, Les Waninger, Bob Stellick, Brad Hepp, past Sister Governor and past President Tim Murphy, Steve Slates, Bob Solheim, Dennis Hikes, Sam Thompson, Jennifer Bennerotte, Wooge Bayan, Dan Hallberg, Terry Stevens, Paul Moody, Jeff O, Bob Hildred, Scott McDonald, Ann Platt, Joshua Sprague, who is that? Don Erickson, thank you, Patty Ellington Solheim, San Asado, Frank Cardarell, Sandy Schley, and Bill Kleins. And I aspire to be in that picture someday too. What do you think? What great leadership we have here, don't you think? I mean, just think. Mark Jessup, future president. There you go. All right, moving on. People ask, where is Jeff O? Well, Jeff O is in Florida playing golf with his sons. And as you're looking at it, the tall one is Torger. And for some of you that might remember, Torger played on the Edina varsity golf team as an 8th grader. And they took 2nd in state. That's amazing, isn't it, Scott Blake? It is. Apparently, Sander is very good as well. So hopefully this year, maybe they'll win state. I don't know.
It comes from his mother.
He gets it from his mother. So Rotary in the news. We had such a great meeting last week about all the things our club does internationally. In fact, we heard about the international grant Shelley Loberg authored that had an impact on the pediatric wing in the hospital in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. But we also make a huge impact in our backyard. And if I call your name, will you please stand? Bjorn Frudenthal, Bob Gubberud, Doug Johnson, Jack Kennefeck, Jennifer Bennerotte. Would you please stand? Joe Ahrens, Mike Callis, Stephen Smith, Sutton McGraw, please stand. Chris Lakowski, Scott Blake, Nick Van Beek, Gitu Sharma, Erica Allenberg, Julie Westbrock, Renee Harbert, Dick Teagan, and Kathy Ritter. The big news is yesterday morning, our foundation approved $95,235 in 26 local grants. And the people that are standing vetted 41 grants. They went to the North Minneapolis Boxing Club. They vetted their financial statements. They did that. Thank you all so much for what you have done and the impact that you're making in the care that you took. And we should give a special shout out to Ryan Wilson, who's not here. Certainly he, I think, displayed great leadership. In that spirit of making a difference in things we could do, I'd like to welcome Gay Clapp to the podium, who's going to share an opportunity that we have coming up on Tuesday, April 12th.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Becky, because Becky did this beautiful slide as well as a great announcement in the Barker about what we are planning to do April the 12th. I want to share a little article, well, not the whole article, of course, but from the Rotary magazine for March about what we're doing. It's called Girls Empowered. In Uganda, members of Rotary and USAID are erasing the taboo around menstruation and helping girls stay in school. We don't deal with that in this country, but listen to what happened to this one girl. This girl was 13 when she got her first period in school. She bled through her uniform, and all the boys laughed. Her friends said, try using a handkerchief. She went home and her mother said, I can't afford any supplies. You'll have to stay home. And that's kind of what happens to these girls. No one quite understands it. They're often ostracized. There's not much, of understanding that goes around. And so that's what we're trying to help. Days for Girls is not the Rotary organization here, but it is an international organization that seeks to help these girls, provide dignity, education, and supplies. And so we are going to donate the support supplies, the fabric, washcloths, panties, in the dark colors, obviously to hide stains. Judy Johnson, our local contact who's with Maple Grove Rotary, will be here April the 12th to pick up our collections. I will need a couple of helpers to load it into her car. You also, you can bring the items. You can also donate directly. There, on the website, there's a donate tab and then donate, and then Becky kindly set up the link from the Barker. I'll take that and go buy the items. So while there's so much going in the world, and I know it, this is their world, and let's help make it a little bit better. Thank you.
Thank you, Gay, for embracing that project. And again, it's Tuesday, April 12th, which is a joint morning meeting with the Morning Club. So, today, how many people are planning on going to the Black Business Mixer at Tommy Beavis's Pimento Kitchen? I'm going to. It's going to be great fun. If anybody needs a ride, come. I'm leaving about 10 after 5. You know where you can find me, Paul? So come. It'll be great. That's tonight. We Rotarians like celebrating birthdays, and the following Rotarians have celebrated. Ken Larson, Les Jones, Mike Norman, Dr. Brad Pearson, the Sheepherder, Paul Moody, Will Steinke, Axel Stewart, Chris Lekowski, Gary Pedersen, Bob Hildreth, David Ozzie, Sandra Kresbach, Kelly Burnett, Kayla Beeler. She started on March 1 and she's still celebrating. Bless her, I'm telling you. Maybe she's in Hawaii right now. Sandy Schley and Joe Hayes' big day is tomorrow. For those of you that are new to our club, I always take a moment and recognize how many long people have been in our Rotary Club. Again, Rotary is a service organization, and everybody in this room gives of their time, their talent, and their treasure. So Scott Blake, 4 years, Mike Eckert, 9, Kaylin Idness, 9, Andrew Finesse, 28 years, Teresa Halverson, 5, Mark Justin, 12, Susan Johnson, 9, Jack Kineffect, 9, George Lancaster, 34 years, Toshi Metzger, 4, Kip Peterson, 10, Ross Peterson, 7, Joshua Sprague, 14, Susan Stiles, 21, Mary Swenson, 12, Skip Thomas, 28, with perfect attendance. Skip, where are you? There he is. Sam Thompson, 9, Julie Rusbrock, 1. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for the difference you make in our club in Rotary International. So it takes a village to run a school system, right, Stacie? Well, it takes a village to put on a Rotary meeting. So helping out today, Eli Grodendijk is at the front desk. Sutton McGraw is going to lead us in the invocation. Joe Hayes is going to thank you, Stacie. Susan Johnson is going to introduce you, Stacie. Wade Toman, who's here with his pen and paper, or taking notes for the Barker. Jennifer Bennerotte, with her great cameras, taking pictures to post on social media. Krilla Skakowski is filming us so people can watch it on YouTube later. And Scott Blake is handling the Zoom. We so appreciate all you do. Please rise for the invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, and four-way test.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and those on Zoom. As March is Women's History Month, I thought we should start out by acknowledging Dr. Madeleine Albright's death. She died yesterday, March 23rd, at age 84. Dr. Albright was the first woman to become U.S. Secretary of State in 1996 and was thought to be a transatlantic groundbreaker, a true force for goodness, freedom, and foreign policy. These past 2 years have been unusually hard for many of us dealing with COVID, school closures, and feeling isolated from our friends and family. As we are coming out of one national crisis, the world is now looking at unrest, uncertainty, and trauma of the Ukrainian people and those in Russia who are protesting and hoping their government will choose a different and peaceful course of action. Let us pray for the families, especially the children, living through the atrocities of war and all the upheaval and suffering it brings. We also pray for those protesting in Russia against violent acts by their government. We ask you would protect and cover these protesters as they put their bodies in the line in the name of justice and righteousness. We pray for the entire world community, including the leaders in our own country. May the goodness and wisdom in humanity bring us to a sound solution. I'd like to close with these thoughts in the spirit of Rotary. With our friends beside us and no person beneath us, with the bonds of Rotary between us and our worries behind us, no task beyond us with the twist of knowledge, and the dream of a peaceful world, we are thankful for our Rotary friends and the meal we're about to receive. Thank you. Amen. Shalom. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test: is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Is it beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
It's me. That's right. Hi, I'm Fred Sylvester, not Eli, but helping out. So we have 9 guests with us today. So we'll start off with the host Rotarian. Sutton, you have 2 guests that are joining us today.
Yes. So my first guest is Zach Abukar, and Zach was joined us for the Ethics Leadership Day, and he is the CEO of Hadia Media. So welcome back. He's just learning about Rotary. Zach's got a friend in trees, because you can stand up, and he is the CEO of a third-party ticketing company and lives in town. So welcome to both of you.
Next, Mark Jetson, you have a guest, Dan Hunt.
Yes, Dan Hunt is here for a second visit. Many of you already know Dan. I thought rather than hearing my introduction again, we'd let him speak.
It is heartwarming to see so many familiar faces I know that have occurred over the 20 years since we moved to Edina, so thank you for having me.
Welcome. Next up, Rich Melzer has a guest joining us.
Hi everybody, this is a lifelong friend of mine. We've worked on a ton of ambiguous and meaningful philanthropic efforts together. This is Josh Hauser, he's with Vital Plastics. Josh, want to give a little do what you do?
Yes, I'm in business development and I'm looking to push initiatives for sustainability into the industry I'm in, so I appreciate you having me here.
Welcome. All right, and then Rob Bredding, you have 2 guests joining us today.
Yeah, Yeah, that's right, actually. So thank you, Fred. So go ahead and stand up, guys. So first of all, I have Ryan Haggerty. Ryan and I are old friends, and we reconnected since COVID. Ryan's just come emerging, right, as we all are. And Ryan is in the employee benefits and finance space, and I'll let him say hi.
Hi, thank you for being very welcoming, and I look forward to meeting many of you.
What's your last name, Mike?
Jorgensen.
Jorgensen, we know each other so well, I don't know his last name. He actually just walked in, and he's grew up in Edina.
Yeah.
And we'd like to say a few words. We're welcoming you to the club, and we'd love to have you come back.
Yeah, thank you. I grew up in Edina, lived abroad for about a decade, just recently moved back to Edina, and looking forward to getting involved in the community a bit more. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Next up, we have joining us Jennifer Babish. Please stand, and she's a friend of Stacie Stanley, our speaker today. Would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Babish, and I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction in White Bear Lake area schools, but I am getting my superintendent's license. And Dr. Stanley and I taught middle school together about 20 years ago, and so she graciously has invited me to join her and to learn from her. So thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. And then we have Jetson Wash joining us. Please stand. And he's comes our way from Lake Tahoe Rotary, but moved here and is out looking at Rotary clubs. So thanks for joining us. I think it's your second visit or third?
My second visit. My name is Judson Walsh, and I'm happy to be here. As you mentioned, I moved here from Lake Tahoe a few months ago. Born and raised here in Minneapolis and Kenwood, so this is all local to me. It's nice to be back. I'm back because I am a caretaker now for my 93-year-old mom, which is an honor, really, to be in that position, and I'm very thankful for that. So thank you for all the warm welcome that I've received here in the group today and last time I was here. I look forward to getting more involved.
Very nice. And last, we have Lloyd Campbell joining us from the Glenwood Rotary.
93 is not very old. I know.
Hello, I'm Lloyd Campbell, Glenwood Rotary Club. Next year I'll be the district governor.
Wow, that's great.
But I love coming here. I love this club, and you don't want to get me to start talking because I think your meeting has. Thank you.
All right, that's it. Thank you, everyone.
It's a little bit of a funny story. I was visiting with Frank Carterell. Frank, where are you? It's hard for me to see. Oh, back there. He goes, well, you know, Michael, when I was president, we'd average 25 guests a meeting, and you only got like 8 or 9. At which point Becky goes, yeah, Michael, take that. You know, we have very high standards at the Rotary Club of Edina, and we're so thankful for all you visitors and potential members for joining us. So, moving on. I know what you're thinking, Joe. You're thinking you forgot to buy the diapers or the cake box or the detergent. Not a problem. The reason I bring that up is that we are doing food collection of non-perishables for VEAP, which is a very large food distribution food bank in Bloomington. And we have another meeting, Mark. Isn't that exciting? So next week on the 31st, you can bring stuff to give away at VEAP to help those less fortunate. In fact, I have an idea. What do you think? So what many of you may or may not know is Michael Brindisi, who is the executive director of the Chanhassen Dinner Theater, is coming to speak next week, Hannelore, and he's bringing with him 2 sets of tickets to the show Footloose. So this is what we're going to do. If you want to bring something to give to VEAP, we're going to put your name in a hat to see if you get 2 tickets to Footloose. And I've seen it. It's great. You'll sing, you'll dance. It's fun. So remember that. Okay, Chris? You'll remember? All right. Moving on. Mark Sagerberg said, what can we do to help the people in Ukraine? Well, we can go through Rotary International. You can go to myrotary.org and you can give funds directly to Rotary International, and they will give direct humanitarian support in the Ukraine region. Or if you want to know what the website address is, you can go right there and you can give money, which will again go to help the people that are suffering in Ukraine. Speaking of the Rotary Foundation, what is the Rotary Foundation? Well, the Rotary Foundation is based in Chicago. The mission is it helps Rotary members to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace by improving health, providing quality education, improving the environment, and alleviating poverty. The areas of focus are basic education and literacy, community economic development, disease prevention and treatment, maternal and child health, peace building and conflict prevention, water sanitation and hygiene, and environment. So why am I bringing that up? Because we have a contest. We have Team Jennifer and Team Jeff. And again, it isn't about how much money we give or raise, it's just that we're hoping every one of our members, Susan, can give at least $25. And just to be clear, this goes to Rotary International Foundation. We did such a great job raising money at our gala. Thank you all for all your generosity. Thank you all that give to the Rotary International Foundation. But if you don't, please consider making a gift of something before June 30th. And I know, it's like what Toshi asked me, Michael, where do I give the money to? Who do I give it to? I said, you bring the check and you give it to Catherine Gump and she can account for it properly. And Toshi did and Catherine did. So you will be contacted by your lieutenants, whether you're on Team Jennifer or Team Jeff, and we hope we can get 100% participation from our club. So Susan Johnson is a lot of things. She's an outstanding skier. She is our social director that's done a phenomenal job, especially seeing last year we had COVID. I'm so glad she's part of our board. She is also a senior vice president with Fidelity Bank and focuses on the bank's warehouse funding business. Fidelity Bank provides warehouse funding to a wide range of clients across the country, ranging from emerging mortgage bankers to mid-sized correspondent lenders. With proven financial stability in any economy, Fidelity Bank has remained committed to the rapidly changing mortgage industry for over 30 years. Susan has worked on various legal and operational aspects of the program. In addition, she has developed deep relationships with her clients. She travels a lot now, and industry providers, which allows Fidelity Bank to be a trusted resource. Ms. Johnson joined Fidelity Bank in 1989, 33 years ago, same employer. Well, of course. I mean, do they value you? Following graduation from, where did you graduate from, Mark Jessen? Ski-U-Mah, baby, the University of Minnesota. Let's give it up. She resides in Minneapolis, Minnesota with her husband, Doug, and has 2 grown children. Please welcome my friend and fellow Rotarian, Susan Johnson. You're welcome.
Good afternoon. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Stacie Stanley. Dr. Stanley began her tenure as Superintendent of Edina Public Schools on July 1st, 2021. Since joining the Edina community, she has immersed herself in the culture of Edina and serves on the Edina Chamber Board and is a member of the Edina Morningside Rotary. Dr. Stanley has served in a variety of educational roles, including math teacher, which we heard about with her connection with Jen, school principal, director of curriculum, assessment, instruction, and support services, and prior to her recent appointment, she served as the Associate Superintendent of Eden Prairie Public Schools. Stacie earned a doctorate degree from Bethel University in St. Paul.
There we go.
All right, Royce. And while at Bethel, she researched the impact of intercultural development on K-6 administrative leadership practice. Dr. Stanley enjoys research and writing. She is a co-author of a best-selling book on women in leadership and served as a contributing author for a text that highlights best practices in engaging communities. She is also a doctoral program adjunct faculty member and dissertation advisor at Bethel University and serves on the advisory board for the Hamlin School of Education. She and her husband are enjoying being empty nesters. I can relate to that. Power walking and then spending time with their grandchildren. When do you have time to sleep? Stacie enjoys showcasing Edina Public Schools on Twitter and on LinkedIn. Hopefully she'll share some of those, how we can follow her on those things. And to hear about her vision for Edina Public Schools, Please join me in welcoming Dr. Stacie Stanley.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is so great to be here. Now, I am a member of Morningside, and I do take turns with Randy. Randy is our assistant superintendent, so sometimes Randy takes my place in the morning, and I take his place in the afternoon. But it is great to be here. Doug invited me to come and speak with you. Gosh, it was a good 2 months ago, before the state of the community, and I'm just really glad to be able to be back to share some great things about my district. Oh, look at that lovely picture. That's awesome. So, I have been here for 8 months, and one of my greatest pride and joy is the fact that we have had our students in school, in person, 5 days a week, with limited disruptions in school. That is worth fighting. My cabinet team worked really hard during that Omicron surge to make certain that they put together a plan that was going to keep our kids in school. I'm just really proud that when other districts had to kind of shutter their doors and their windows, that we were able to stay forward. You see here, this is just an example of our kids this year and some things that they have been doing, and just the impact of being in person. Our kids were learning well when they were in distance learning, but it just makes a difference. Still being able to volunteer, help out with Feed My Starving Children, all of those aspects that are so important for school. So I'm going to go over just a few things. If you were at the State of the Community, bear with me, because I think that there are some things that are worth repeating, and I'm going to share a little bit of additional information as well. One of the things that I'm incredibly proud of is our status with our finances. Our Director of Business Services, John Tope, does an amazing job managing our finances. And that is, in my opinion, the core of excellence of a school district. So we're proud to be just one of 3 districts in the state to receive Moody's AAA rating, meaning that our credit is judged to be of the highest quality and subject to the lowest credit risk. Now, what that means for residents of Edina is that your property taxes are lower. And that is, in my opinion, always worth a clap to have low property taxes. Our vision of Edina Public Schools is for each and every student to discover their possibilities and thrive. And we are doing that in a variety of ways. It guides our vision, guides everything that we do. Programming, interactions, internally, externally, business partnerships. We lean on that vision so that we can make a difference for our students. Now, some of you are familiar with NICHE. NICHE is an organization that rates districts all around the United States, and an organization that many homebuyers actually look to see how the district and the potential city that they're moving into is doing. And this year, really proud to say that each of our 9 schools has an A or higher rating in the district. That's pretty incredible. There are very few districts that have that A rating. Another thing that I want to talk to you about is our Early Learning Center. Now, I don't know if any of you have little ones coming up or grandchildren that are coming up, but we know how important that early learning experience is. And so our Edina Early Learning Center was awarded the Parent Aware 4-star rating. Programs who have earned 4 stars are acclaimed as excelling at use of kindergarten readiness practices, and we are proud to say that the Edina Learning Center has earned this rating 6 years running. Absolutely. They look at a variety of areas to earn this designation. It's a level of teaching, the level of leadership, the level of collaboration, the level of partnership with the community, and Leah Bird does an amazing job in leading that effort. So, I don't know how many of you have heard of our Edina Unified program. Our Edina Unified program, we were the first middle school in Minnesota to earn the Unified Champion School status by the Special Olympics. And our students with special needs partner with our students without special needs. And they work on projects. They come together. They are engaged and immersed in learning together. I spoke with a student the other day at the high school, and she said, Dr. Stanley, the reason why when I graduate, I'm going to school to be a teacher, and I know that I'm going to be a special education teacher. And I am doing that because I have been involved in Edina Unified since I was in middle school. It expands perspective. It really allows our students without special needs to walk in the shoes a little bit of students with special needs, and more importantly, it really helps to break down the barriers, the biases that we may have about students who have developmental disabilities. Just this year, our assistant principal at Southview Middle School, Dr. Tammy Joe, was named to the Special Olympics National Education Leaders Network. There were 12 leaders named around the nation, and our middle school AP was one of them. If you have never attended Theater for All performance, you have to get this on your calendar. It is pretty incredible to see our students come together. It was established in 2014 by our high school's theater program. Students partner to actually stage a play, to perform the play, and it does not matter what your abilities are. You may ambulate in a wheelchair. You may be an individual who is hard of hearing. You may use sign language in order to communicate. It doesn't matter. You are able to be in the play and to actively participate, and it is absolutely something that we are incredibly proud of. And that we've won awards for. So raise your hand if you've ever heard of the polar plunge. Well, I'm about to take my first one next week. Thank you. I just want my heart to keep beating. That's what I want. Well, because of our work with Edina Unified, we are actually hosting an on-site at Southview polar plunge, so I'm not jumping into Minnetonka. So that might be a little bit better. But they say the water is ice cold, so we'll see about that. I do have my green swim cap. Because if you're gonna wear a swim cap, it needs to be green, right? Polar plunges do so much for Special Olympics, and you see that I have a QR code there. If you're interested in supporting any of the plungers, it doesn't just have to be me, please go ahead and scan that QR code and make a contribution. We are so appreciative for everything that Rotary does. I know that Rotary is involved in the Rotary Scholars Program, Global Scholars Program at the high school, and that allows students to learn about and work with students from all over the world. And so, again, thank you for all that you do to help support our students. This really makes a difference, and this would make such an incredible difference. We have a goal of reaching and raising $25,000 at this event. I went on probably Saturday, and we were at about $17,000, so we are really close to meeting that goal. Another opportunity to brag a little bit here. Our high school has been named by Niche the #1 college prep high school in Minnesota 4 years running. What's incredible is there are 1,287 high schools in the state of Minnesota, and we have been #1 4 years running. Our principal, Andy Beaton, does an amazing job in working with our students, giving them leadership opportunities. So a little bit about our class of 2021, even though I can't believe it. We are close to our class of 2022 already. We had 336 Edina scholars who earned a GPA of 3.5 or higher in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th, and 12th grade, 4 years running. We had 139 graduates that received bilingual or multilingual seals of certificates for language proficiency. Some people think, well, you know, Dr. Stanley, you do have a French immersion elementary school. Of course you have that. But it was also in ASL, in Latin, and in Spanish. Something for us to be incredibly proud of. So, years ago when I started teaching, I heard about Edina and their advanced placement courses, and just about every district around the state was aspiring to be like Edina with advanced placement. We had nearly 1,200 students take an AP exam, and I want to take us back in context a little bit. This is last spring. We are still in the pandemic. Students have just come back into school in person in February, and we had nearly 1,200 students feel confident enough to take the AP exam. Nearly 80% of them earned a 3+ or higher, and that means that you earn college credit for that. And I shared the other day that those college credits, if you're in Minnesota, you know, can't go for all colleges across the nation, but that's saving students, that's saving families, that's saving your children, that's saving you anywhere from $500,000 to a little bit over $800,000 in college savings. In May of 2021, when our students took AP exams, we administered 2,248 exams, which is almost twice as many exams as any other high school in the state. We had 7 students who earned perfect ACT scores last year. Our students had been in varying learning modalities since the spring of 2020, and we had 7 students earn perfect ACT scores. So I'm going to take us back just a bit to our vision again. Remember, our vision is for each and every student to discover their possibilities and thrive. And when we say each and every student, we literally mean that. When students come to learn in our schools, we say that every student has the possibility to thrive. We say that every student is going to rise to the capabilities and their natural abilities and then their learning abilities. And I am really proud to announce that we have a senior. His name is Essa Amin. He was just named a Dell Scholar. Dell awards just 500 students nationwide a scholarship to receive $20,000. But in addition to this, he's going to be a first-generation college attendee. And so he is going to receive mentoring supports when he's in college. He is going to receive the homework supports that he needs when he goes to college so that he can be successful. And there's a gentleman, young man, in the back of the room. I'm sorry, your last name is Jorgensen, Mr. Jorgensen, I remember that one, who said he graduated, he went off, he lived overseas, and then he came back. And the truth of the matter is, that is the profile of folks who grow up in Edina. May leave, may go out and do great things in other parts of the world, but then you come back home. And so now Essa is going to be able to leave, go out, do some great things in the world, and come back home and do great things here in Edina Public Schools. That's something that we are incredibly proud of. Okay. This is a superintendent's opportunity.
You have the floor.
I have the floor, Michael tells me. This is a superintendent's opportunity to dispel some of the myths that are out there about my district, about our district, right? So, there's always a lot of information out there comparing us to Wayzata and Minnetonka and when I was at Jerry's the other day, and somebody came up to me and they said, you know, Dr. Stanley, is it true? Is it true that we are not high performing like Minnetonka? Is it true that all of our families are leaving and going to Wayzata? So this is what I need from you. I need you to be our champions. Now, you might not memorize this, but you could certainly take a picture of it if you wanted to. And I need you to share this within the community so that we get the accurate information out. The truth of the matter is Edina has had top ACT scores since 2016. And honestly, before then, I just ran out of room on my slide. And so I didn't put more room in there, so I couldn't get that in there. You see the comparison between Minnetonka and Wayzata. Our scores are high. Last year, this is MCA scores for 3rd grade last year. Our students had been in and out of multiple learning modalities. They had been in virtual learning. They had come back in November, December. They went back to virtual learning. They came out. They were in this space where they had their face coverings on. It was a new experience. Everybody was anxious. We didn't know as leaders, what was going to happen. And this is what happened. Our 3rd grade proficiency scores were higher than both Wayzata and Minnetonka. And I have to say, Wayzata and Minnetonka had their children in school in person more frequently than we did in Edina. So I'm going to take us back to this slide as well, where I talked about our AP exams, because there's some really important information here. I had said that we administered 2,248 AP exams, nearly twice as many as other high schools across the state. And what's the context that's super important that I really want folks to take away from this is that MCAs and AP exams happen around the same time. And when you're a student and you have the opportunity to take an AP exam, to possibly earn college credit, your efforts are going in that direction. Your efforts aren't going toward the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments. That's what MCA stands for. And so what our students do is they opt out of taking the MCAs. And people say, well, they didn't take them. What's the big deal? It's not going to impact you. Well, again, our students who are taking, 5, 6 AP exams, they are some of our highest performing students at our high school, right? So we are taking out our highest performing students when they complete their tests. And that really has a significant impact. Now, this is what I say. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do that, because I get it. If that goes on my college transcript or my high school transcript and colleges are looking at that, no college is looking at MCAs. They aren't looking at that, but they are looking at transcripts with AP classes. And if I can save my parents some money, when I'm going off to college, if that can help me to earn a higher level of a scholarship, I'm going to do that. Because again, MCAs, after children graduate from high school, they really make no difference. Now, don't tell, well, I guess I'm being recorded. I was gonna say, don't tell the commissioner that, but I'm being recorded. Sorry, Commissioner. So, here are overall math scores for MCAs last year. Wayzata was in school for the most amount of time last year. But this is what I really want you to note here. Frequently, people do not compare us to Wayzata, they compare us to Minnetonka. That's what I hear most. And again, if you look at that data, it shows that we outperformed Minnetonka on our MCAs for math. Here are scores for reading. When you think about 1.9%, I'm not doing math right now. That's probably 5 students. When you really get down to the N, that's 5 students that weren't proficient. Again, our highest performing students are not completing our assessments. And that's okay. But I want you to take a look at this. Again, we are outperforming our neighbor. And again, I bring this forward because these are often the questions that come to me about performance of our students. Percentage of students attending college. Year after year after year, again, I could have gone back to 2010 if I needed to. We have a greater percentage of students that are attending college. So, I need you to be our champions. I need you to share this information. I need you to talk to your neighbors and dispel the myths, because there's only one of me, but there are a lot of you. And each one of you represents about 20 people. That's a lot of people that you can talk to share about the greatness of our district. So, now that we've dispelled the myths, now we can talk about where we're going, right? So, vision. I have a vision for 2027 that each and every one, regardless of whether or not you have a special education IEP, regardless of whether or not your family speaks English as their first language at home, regardless of whether or not your family has a lot of money in their pocketbook or a little bit of money in their pocketbook, that every student would graduate with a micro-credential or an industry certification, that they will graduate with either an apprenticeship or an internship under their belt. And that is good for all of our students. Our students who are going on to Harvard and they know that they are going to be a medical doctor one day, that's okay. Because if you get an industry certification as a CNA or a paramedic, that looks really good on your application. And more importantly, it gives you that real life experience. You really know what life is going to be like. It also allows students to get an idea for the many opportunities that are there. I read in Harvard Business Review a couple of years ago that a student who graduates a couple of years ago, 2018, that they will have 13 different careers, not 13 positions within an organization or an industry. 13 different careers. We have to make certain that we are exposing our students to a variety of opportunities to make certain that they can discover their possibilities and thrive. So we're really excited that we were invited by the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry to apply for a youth skills grant from through the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry. What happened is 2 of our high school teachers, they have this vision. They know what can happen for our students. And so they submitted, it was an application to be approved to apply. They submitted that. And this brings together our business partners with our classroom teachers to support students in future-ready experiences. With the Youth Skills Training Grant, students are paid an hourly wage when they're in an internship. I don't know about you, but I was not paid for my internships. And so that's really exciting that they have that experience. This is great for students, like I said, who go on to a 4-year college or university. And it's great for students who are looking to take a gap year or who are looking to go right into entrepreneurship or into the workforce. It provides our students with an opportunity to apply their learning in context in a real-world setting. And so I am incredibly excited about the partnerships that we're forming. Last fall, I worked with Lori Severson to host a business roundtable right here at Country Club. And we had about 55 people here. We had several business industries that were represented. We had Microsoft represented. You know, it would be pretty incredible if our kids could walk out the door with a Microsoft certification, with a Google certification, all of those certifications that are going to truly make a difference in application and prepare them as they go on to college. When we applied for this Youth Skills Training Grant, usually when a district is invited to apply, you know, they may get 1 or 2 partners. We ended up submitting that application with 8 partners that had signed on, which was pretty incredible. We were so proud of that. And finally, you know, there are some great things that are happening in Edina Public Schools. So you may have heard that our board accepted my recommendation to start a pathway for a Spanish dual language immersion school. We've had French immersion for a really long time, and we consistently have 60 to 65 students on that waiting list, and we have just run out of space. Like, there literally is no more space to expand. And so knowing that there was interest, and knowing that we actually have a charter school within our community that is Spanish immersion, and we're losing students to that charter school, we looked into Spanish immersion. So we will launch that next year with 2 kindergarten classrooms. Ultimately, the pathway will be housed at Countryside. There's a difference between a full Spanish immersion or full immersion school like Normandale is. Instead, this will be a pathway. There will be 2 to 3 sections, 2 sections in the school that offers this. A two-way immersion is where you have students who are heritage speakers. Their first language is Spanish, and students who are English speakers. They come together, and what the research demonstrates is that by the time they are in 6th grade, they are fluent. If we go back to my 6th grade, if we go back to my vision for 2027, I say it's one thing to learn a language, to learn a culture. It's another thing to use that. And our students should be out serving as interpreters, right? They should be out applying that language. They could be working at banks. They could be serving as junior ambassadors. They could be working for some of our congressmen, and so, and women. And so that's really exciting. We will have 2 kindergarten classes. We opened up registration, and those 2 sections filled really fast. We have 55 students who are on that waiting list. At the same time that we launch the kindergarten, we will actually be building on to Countryside. So we're going to add 6 classrooms there so that we can add a grade level every year until we are a full K-5 school. STEAM is science, technology, engineering. We add the arts and math. That's everything. That encompasses all the skills that students are going to need. I was a math teacher. I am such a strong advocate for students having that math, that science background. And so our board approved that our elementary schools will move to premier, I call them marquee, STEAM schools. And our assistant superintendent, Randy Smazel, is leading up that effort. We're doing a lot of development and planning. Teachers need the training for that. You can't just launch STEAM programming so that it's going to be exceptional right away. You have to do a lot of planning for that. And so we have a team of teachers that have come together, principals, paraprofessionals, and they are working with Dr. Smazel on that. And then finally, an outgrowth of the pandemic is knowing that families really want to stay in the online environment still. And so we offered families who are interested. We had 100 families this year, and we are expanding that out now to be K-12. We've been approved as a comprehensive K-12 online school. What that means is we'll be able to meet the needs of our families who have actually left us and gone to a different school at the secondary level, and it also means that families who are interested will be able to open enroll via our online school as well. We heard from a research organization that there were 33,000 students in June of 2021 who said that they were going to remain in online school. There are a lot of conglomerates out there, and I know that we can offer something better for those students. So whenever somebody stands up, I know I'm out of time, but I really want to, I want to thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
We'll take some questions.
How many students do you have in Edina that take place or that use post-secondary education opportunities?
You know, I can't tell you the N that we have, but about 3% of our students take advantage of PSEO opportunities. And, you know, we also offer college in the schools classes, so those are teachers who have master's degrees. They're certified to teach courses through the U of M, and so we also offer those within the school setting as well. Good question. Go ahead.
Are AP credits given by any and all colleges?
You know what, that is such a good question. And not all colleges accept AP credits, but a lot of the schools that our students are attending are getting access to those. And that's why we offer the college in the schools, like through the U of M as well, because those credits are guaranteed to be part of the student's transcript at the U of M. Good question. I thought I saw a hand over here somewhere. Go ahead.
I just wanted to comment that I enjoyed your singing performance at our gala. Bring a video of your performance with today.
Yeah, I'm really glad that I did not include that in the presentation. But the gala was fantastic. For those of you who are like, what is he talking about? So there was an opportunity to bid to sing, and someone bid for me, and I got to go up with the band and sing September. I mean, you gotta love September, right? By Earth, Wind, and Fire. So
You guys, huge congratulations for your early childhood learning success. I mean, that's going to play a big role in the later stages of success you guys have had. How are you sharing this data with maybe other schools in the metropolitan area that aren't having this type of results and this type of success?
yeah, so you know, there are a few different ways. There is a superintendent's network. We get together every week, quite honestly. There are about 48 superintendents who get together. You know, there's a topic. Early learning was a topic that was last fall. There's also a statewide assistant superintendent work group. They get together every quarter. And so really able to share all that information in that way.
Thank you very much for coming to speak to us today. We really appreciate it. Being a longtime resident of Edina, you really drew a great case for Edina, along with Jennifer and Scott Neal, with all the services that offer that. In Edina, it's just a wonderful place to raise children, which we raised 2 children. My folks raised 5 children also, so we've enjoyed it quite a bit. So thank you. You have heard this before.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, I have to speak.
Yes, here is a token. Rotary is a global network of 1.2 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who see a world where people unite to take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves, from literacy, peace, to water, and health. Rotarians are always working to better our world, and we stay committed to the end. In honor of your presentation, we'll be making a donation to My Very Own Bed, which I think you're familiar with.
Yes.
Nonprofit provides new beds to children moving into stable housing. My Very Own Bed gives a new bed, set of sheets, blankets, pillow, mattress pad, stuffed animal, and books to children who might otherwise go without. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
What a rock star, huh? Dr. Stacie Stanley. She's amazing. Her vision. And in case anybody has any doubts about how Edina Schools' ACT scores stacked up against Minnetonka or Wayzata for the past 8 years, they can see it in black and white, huh? Congratulations. Excuse me, green and white. Yes. Okay. To infinity and beyond. Isn't that a cool little slide? Becky put that together, you know? It's from the Disney thing. Anyway, next week, remember to bring something, Mark Justin, so we can put your name in the hat for 1 of 2 sets of tickets to see Footloose when Michael Brindisi's here. Tonight, I hope to see many of you at Pimento Jamaica's Kitchen, 5:30 to 7. It should be great. Again, Michael Brindisi's going to speak next week. There are VEAP packing shifts available on April 6th, May 4th, June 1. Takes about an hour and a half. You put together lunches for kids who wouldn't ordinarily have them on the weekend. Talk to a beautiful Jennifer Bennerotte right here. She can get you signed up. Avocation Vocation Day. Wade Toman, you see it. Renee Harbers is going to speak. Wednesday, April 6th at CW's. It's great fun. All you do is show up and drink, Sue. I mean, I can do that. And you get to hear somebody's story about what they do. It's very good. April 7th, my dear friend Don Johnson of Shapko Printing is going to talk about the changing world of cannabis packaging. Now, Gordy, I know you're really interested in how they package cannabis. Yeah. So it should be interesting. And then again, think about what Gay said about how we can help the young ladies around the world, and please consider buying something. You know, look in the Barker. Again, that meeting is Tuesday, April 12th with the Morning Club. And then again, we have the June 30th annual family picnic, and typically all the new members of our club help plan that along with Susan Johnson. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela. Meeting adjourned.